Hello, welcome to Make Kind Loud, conversations that turn up the volume. Today we are talking to Raelin. I'm sorry, am I saying your name right, Raelin?
Yes.
Raelin, okay. I meant to ask you that before we got on.
That's okay. You can call me Ray too if you like, but yes, you're saying it right.
Okay,
good,
perfect. So I am going to read your bio, tell the people about you, and then we're going to jump in.
Let's do it.
All right. Raelin calls herself a spiritual observer and advocate of humanity and the soul that lives within. She is a speaker, healing channel of We and We Consciousness, a best-selling author of The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing Techniques, and co-facilitates a Facebook group, White Fragility Discussion Group, that is currently exploring the book by Robin DiAngelo. Ray combines her extensive training in energy modalities such as Reiki, hypnosis, emotion code with psychology and storytelling to empower others through self-inquiry in order to live the softer way. She also hosts a weekly podcast called Live Out Loud. I love all of that. I want to know all the things.
Thank you. Well, let's talk about all the things.
Yes. So tell me about your spiritual journey.
Oh, wow. Gosh. So, boy, I grew up in the church. When I was a kid, I knew that there was something different about me. Could see things, hear things, feel things, know things, and used to freak my mom out a lot. I would say stuff to her and she thought I was listening to her conversations or being nosy or whatever, and I was just being me. So I never understood. Didn't know until I got much older, that's being an intuitive, being an empath, and all of this stuff. But what I have found, though, honestly, all of these years later, as I've gotten comfortable with that about myself, is that every single human being is empathic. Every single human being reads energy. We're all made of energy. Energy is everything around us, and we're fashioned that way to interpret energy in a room, energy between people. We talk a lot about I picked up on this vibe, or right? So, but I also had this deep love of God and Jesus and the angels and all of that, right? As kids do. I think we come into this world with that. But my mother would tell me that who I was, how I was showing up, was demonic and against the Bible, and we don't do that. Well, I mean, to tell a kid we don't do that when it's who they are, how do you separate who you are from what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So I went underground with it a lot with her. I had to kind of, disguise it, maybe not directly say things in that way, but, would say stuff, but in a kind of a veiled way for her.
Yeah.
I'm more open about it now, and my daughters are extremely intuitive. My sister is as well, and I never allowed my kids to feel any shame around that, or never did anything that would shut them down. Always encouraged that, even though we went to church all the time. But I don't see any. I mean, that's how we're created, so I don't see any discrepancy with that.
Yeah.
But as I got older, when I got into my 30s, I had always heard about Reiki and was fascinated with it and had an opportunity to learn and just immediately attached to it. It's an amazing It's an amazing gift of energy healing, and it changed my life. And it's part of who I am. It's what I embody today. And more so to the point, I went through all of the different levels and became a master teacher. And so I still teach Reiki to this day. And again, like I said, it's just become who I am. So anytime I'm with anyone, they're receiving Reiki, whether they know it or not. I don't push it on them, but just being in my presence, you can feel it.
Right.
So that kind of started all of that development, and almost like a coming out of the closet with, energy at work, and just even showing up in my business, the healing space. But I've always been a big proponent for people to speak out loud to those things in their life that have really challenged them. I've always been very open and transparent about what's gone on in my own life. And I think when we have big conversations and are really authentic and genuine with the experiences that we've had, that's when true healing begins. And we can really begin to hold space for each other with compassion and empathy. And a lot of that is missing in our world today. And it's so important. Yeah. So needed.
I agree with that. So why do you think people don't want to show up as their authentic selves?
Oh gosh. Well, like my story, I think it begins in childhood. We get the messages that who we are is not okay. Or there's aspects of us, when we're just being real. We were talking offline, your grandson, I just love him, and I know everybody else does too, because he feels himself. He owns it, and we can see that as adults, and we long for that. All of us as human beings want to be seen and heard for who and what we are, authentically, especially on the soul level, right? So I think the messaging that we get from childhood in through early, child years, and then on through our teenage years and into adulthood, is everything tells us to relax, calm down, be less than, don't make me look bad because you're shining. So no star in the sky tells the star next to it, stop shining because you're overbearing my shine. I mean, come on, for real. Right?
Yeah.
Flowers don't look at the flower next to it, say, you're pissing me off with your blooms, because, so why do we do that to human beings?
Yeah.
Well, there's jealousy, there's pettiness, there's fear. A lot of parents can be fearful with their kids that if their kids are being who and what they are, kids are naturally curious, and we tamper that down as adults within our own children, but it also tampers that down within our own selves. We need to build back the curiosity.
Yes.
Like you just asked me, why? Why do we do that? Why is it not okay for me to say something or to be a certain way, or to wear glasses, with two different shapes,
Yeah. I just noticed that. Wow, that's awesome.
Cool, right?
I love that.
Yeah. Most people think that I'm not seeing something right, or they don't notice it.
Wow.
But life is about curiosity, and if we're not curious, we're not growing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Say that one more time.
If we're not curious, we're not growing.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into these areas, right? Dip our toe in the pool of a new experience, or maybe a new avenue of creativity, or a new avenue of change, of learning, education, career growth, whatever that may be,
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I agree with you. I definitely think it starts in childhood. But the beautiful thing is that the babies, as you mentioned, my grandson, love him dearly. Uh, we're every single one of us are born innately filled with wonder, curiosity, love, and but it kind of changes as we grow up. If you look at a baby, they are the epitome of what love and kindness should be. Amen. Because they haven't been tampered with yet.
Right. Yes. 100%. 100%. They haven't had the contrasting experiences, you know. They haven't been, they're innocent, they're unblemished, you know. But I love this. Sam is my girlfriend. I love her. She's totally, oh my gosh. Oh, she's quoting me, I think.
Yes.
Louisa, I'm all, oh yeah, Sam, that's profound. Wow.
Right, you just said that.
Oh my God. But you know, I think that's where it's what our soul is. We've come to have the human experience. We've come to feel the full range of emotion and contrast. You know, we don't understand joy without pain, grief without, receiving and abundance and all of that stuff, right? So through all of that, as we clean and clear that off, and the residual of that, and as we get curious and we really take an honest look at the emotions that live within us and our experiences, I think there becomes then that remembering and that returning to who our soul is, what our soul is, which is what we see in the eyes of a child. You know, it's that taking everything in. Children don't judge. They don't judge their experiences. They don't judge who they see. They don't judge what they're seeing. I mean, they're real. They're honest. They call it out when they notice something. Why do we stop them? Why do we feel the discomfort when our children say, hey, how come that guy has his arm, you know, in a weird way, right? If it's a person who's disabled, or how come your skin color is different from my skin color? Or how come that person has this patch over their eye, or whatever it is, right? Why do we feel the discomfort? They're literally observing the world around us. We see it. So I think that's a point of curiosity for us to go inside and say, what is living inside of me that makes me so uncomfortable with the reality that I see? What is it that's triggering inside of me? Rather than shushing our children, you know, I just, in the messaging, you know, that their curiosity, that their wonder, that their interaction with the world around them is somehow bad or wrong.
Yep, and that's the messages, like you just said, that they receive, and so therefore they start stifling themselves. They start censoring themselves instead of allowing them to be fully embodied in that curiosity and that wonder. Because
and then they start to believe that it's wrong. Well, they start to believe that there's something wrong or bad about it.
Right.
And we've given them that message.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of projecting the fear as well, like projecting the fear onto them, instead of allowing them to be their true, authentic selves, like you were when you were a child. Like it was projected upon you, but instead of allowing you to embrace fully who you were and who you are, it was like, no, that's wrong. We have, as adults, our journey back to the land of wonder and curiosity is definitely a journey. And I say this often. I wonder how this world would be if we never lost that. If we never lost that wonder, if we never lost that love, if we never lost, you know, the pure kindness, the pureness of how we are pushed out literally into this world.
Yeah.
If we never lost that, like what kind of world would we live in now?
Yeah, amen. I think so too. Obviously it would be a vastly different place, you know.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and I don't take lightly and discount, you know, some of the big experiences and challenges that we face in life. Some of these big events, I've had many of them in my life, and some of them are very painful to go through. And you know, we have you know, brutality in this world. We have violent acts. We have violations. I mean, all of that exists, and certainly none of it is okay ever. But what I have found through my own experiences in those realms is that there is always amazing beauty and grace and compassion that still exists in that moment. We have this duality. It's not a either or, it's an and both. And I can't, you know, I've told people before, I can't pull on the ugly threads of the tapestry of my life without disrupting those threads that are beautiful and kind and gracious and loving and warm and wonderful, you know?
Yeah.
And my message isn't to bypass all of that, but it's one of, there is absolute hope and beauty even in the ashes, you know, even in the ruins of our life.
Yeah. I agree. So your podcast is called Live Out Loud.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you? What does living out loud mean to you?
I love that your tagline for is it Make Kindness Out Loud?
Make Kind Loud.
Make Kind Loud. And then you say, we're turning up the volume. So when I saw that, I'm like, yes, because that's kind of part of my tagline too, is I talk to people and I want to share a message that turns up the volume, dials up our experience of our life, gets people awake and participating in their lives. So many people are on autopilot and they just go through the motions. Every day it's the same thing. And when we're present in our own lives, however that's looking in the moment, whether it's a time of stress or it's a time of grief, it's a time of celebration, whatever that is, if we're present in whatever is in our life, we're living loudly. Because those moments, even though some of them may be small and subtle, they ask us to dial in our sensitivity and our awareness. It turns up the volume of our vision and of our mindfulness in that moment. And everything just really comes into clear focus and becomes bigger somehow. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. No, it does.
Yeah, because you live that way. You do.
Oh, I try my best.
Well, you do a really good job at it, girl.
Thank you.
You're seeing it out here, you know. And there's so much more to be had, and I was one of those people that was always looking to the future, to something. Well, if only I can just get this, or be in that situation, or right there, right? Then my life will be. Life is the series of steps that get you all along the way. And we miss so much of it because we're either living in the future or we're living back in the past.
Wow.
But the present is all we're guaranteed.
Correct.
And we create a lot of suffering by doing that, because we're either ruminating on the past, right? And you know, griping about it and what's gone on before, or wishing for something, for another outcome. That's just insanity. We're driving ourselves
different
crazy.
Than what it was.
Right.
Yeah. But it is what it was, and there's no changing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Or we're wanting something that we don't yet have, and then we're longing and we're worrying and we're trying to live in a period of time that hasn't caught up to us yet.
Yeah,
Or
that doesn't
I
really
shouldn't
exist.
say that we haven't caught up to. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it doesn't
Exactly.
even exist yet.
It doesn't.
Yeah, because I mean,
100%.
the thing that exists is what's happening right now.
Yes.
Because even the past doesn't exist right now.
Thank you. Yes.
It did,
Right.
but it doesn't exist.
Right.
And so, and the hope for whatever the next thing may be, I'll feel better when, or my life will be better when I get here. But again, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so we miss a lot because we're not right here. Amen. We're either back there or up there that doesn't exist. And so, I hear exactly what you're saying.
You know who I love that really dials us in? Well, so I love the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, but I also really love Byron Katie. If you haven't checked her out, check her out, because it's this idea. Well, and John Kabat-Zinn too, he writes about being mindful. And Pema Chodron. Okay, so there's several.
Yeah.
But it really is about being in this present awareness, loving what is, accepting what is, because otherwise we're fighting with reality, or like you just said, with a reality that isn't a reality, because it's not here yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just because you are in this moment doesn't mean that it won't get better, but you have to take the steps currently to get to the better, instead of hoping for the better and not living in the now.
Amen. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And if we're not paying attention, see, she just quoted you too. Look at that. We're throwing it down in here, girl. Bam.
Mic dropping left and right.
Tons. I love it. But it's so true. If we're not paying attention, we're going to find answers in what's happening currently that will inform us, or what we're going through currently is something that is preparing us to push us into that reality that we're wanting. Yeah. But if we're not here and accepting it and willing to put in that work, then we're not going to be ready for what it is that we're wanting.
And that's key. What you just said is putting in the work, because the work is where all the beauty happens. But also the work is kind of painful too at times. Yeah. And I don't think, when I started my kindness journey about 8.5, 9 years ago. And at the very, very beginning, it was hard. And it was like, I don't want to do this. Why? Because I was super sarcastic before that. And I was like, I'm fine, whatever. But it's literally doing the work and working through all the stuff. Because we all have stuff. It doesn't matter who you are, what your status in life is. We all have stuff and we all go through it. My stuff is different than your stuff, but it doesn't make it any less or greater. It's just different, right? And it's the hard work of getting through the stuff that is also beautiful. But through beauty, sometimes you have to go through the pain as well.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all have those times where we feel like we're walking through the valley of the shadow, right?
Yeah.
And, but again, it's the contrasts of life. We don't understand the beauty, the sunshine without rain. And we need the rain in order to, for the plants to grow and all of that kind of stuff, right? So we need those times in our life. Our life isn't meant to be in bliss and joy all the time. We get bored with that. I mean, let's just be real. We do. Yeah. So what do some people do? Some people don't have the awareness, but they're really attached to drama. So if life gets to be in a comfortable place and things are rolling and working really good, they kick up drama to destroy and destruct everything that's going good.
Yeah.
That's the self-sabotage. That's a point of awareness that needs to be built on that and go, why do I do that? What lives inside of me that really, really wants this drama? You know, like your journey. You said you were very sarcastic. This whole journey into kindness and softening and really seeing life in a different way with different glasses on, right? Different lens, right? Has been that inner work, that inner journey of curiosity of going, ooh, okay, why is this living inside of me? What is this a reaction to? Where did this come from? Or why do I keep holding on to it? Why do I feel like I have to? You know, what is it that I'm hiding from?
Yeah, all of those questions are questions that only you can answer. Amen. And so it doesn't matter what people say to you or you know, whatever, you can only answer those questions for yourself. And it's whether or not you want to do that in order to get to the other side of whatever you're hoping for. But you have to go through it first, though. And you have to ask the tough questions, and you have to be able to answer them and be true to yourself.
Yep. I had she's still in my life. We're birthday twins. She's 6 years younger than me, but a dear friend of mine, Kat, and she told me years ago I was in a really bad relationship, off and on, same guy, and it was abusive, and it was just wrong for me. But I believed that I loved him, and I believed if I could just prove that to him, he would love me back. A lot of that from childhood, you know, just we carry our sack of crap with us, right? If we're not willing to unpack it.
Yeah.
So faced with that, and I had called her again for probably the 75th millionth time and boo-hoo and listen to this and blah, blah, blah. And I was really wanting to be seen as a victim, feel sorry for me, you know, and because that was feeding me, I was getting something out of it, you know. And she told me, she said, I love you too much to let you do this to yourself. And I can't sit and watch you self-destruct and abuse yourself like this by putting up with it. You're abusing yourself and you're accepting it from him.
Wow.
When you're ready to get out of it, and when you're ready to really see who you are, call me. I'm the first one there, and I will help you with whatever. And I'll tell you, Louisa, I knew there was that small part of me. Everybody talks about that small little voice. You know, that's not a small little voice. That's the soul. My soul was saying, listen here, tune in, you know, turn up the volume, pay attention, because this is some truth bomb here that you need to hear. And it took me a while. I didn't immediately respond to that. I was very sad, and I felt, okay, well, now there's one more person leaving my life, right?
Right.
But I'll tell you, I smartened up. It took me, probably took me another, to be honest, probably another couple of years, year and a half, couple of years. And when I finally had that light bulb moment, everything came into view. The you know, my eyes were cleared off, and I could see clearly. And I called her, and she was there immediately.
Yeah.
You know, and I value that because she gave me truth, even though I was, you know, down. And you think, gosh, don't kick somebody when they're down. She didn't kick me, but she gave me truth.
Right. And so you had to figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, that's where the money is in life, especially in relationships. When you can have a relationship with somebody, run to the people who tell you your stuff directly. And when they really love you enough to be real with you.
Yeah.
Run to those people. Those are the people to keep around, not the people who are going to give you the yeses and the oh and the comfort and the oh yeah, it's so terrible.
But the people who are going to hold up a mirror and say,
yes,
look at yourself.
yes, look
Yeah.
at what you're doing to yourself. 100%.
I agree with that. I agree. You definitely need those people.
Yes.
And whoever, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be just one or two. It could be one,
Sure.
in all honesty.
Yep.
But it's super important to have that so that you will be able to, talk and express and not feel like you're being judged or anything.
Yeah. I have a couple of girlfriends who do that for me, and anytime they say something to me, I'll go, oh, you don't know me, and I laugh, but you know what I'm talking about. They're the ones that give it to you straight shooting, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I want to swear right now, so I'll try not to, but it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But and it's like, oh, you're so right. But I wasn't always like that when I was younger. I didn't always value that. And I'm grateful that I do now. But it came because I went through a lot of experiences where I wasn't valuing myself. I wasn't valuing what I was going through and what it was telling me and about others in my world. And I was the person who listened more to the weight of what others said about life and about myself.
Yeah.
Than I did my own self. And I know it comes from that messaging when I was a kid, being told that who I was not okay.
Was not okay. Yeah. And that is huge.
Yeah.
And to be able to dig your way out of that. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but it's beautiful what you're doing now and how you're living out loud now and using your voice. And so it's unfortunate that kids go through certain things, and I wish that wasn't the case.
Same.
But if we all learned lessons from the tragedies and the lessons from just the crap, then we'd be able to help others along the way as well.
100%. And I've had many experiences that were not okay and big violations, but I still am grateful for all of it because I've learned so much. And because even those contrasting experiences, the shadows, inform us a lot about life and about ourselves and about what is truly valuable, what is truly meaningful, if we'll listen. And especially, where it concerns kids, it's unfortunate, and we should do everything that we can to protect them and protect that innocence, the things that I went through enabled me to, when my kids did have certain experiences, I was able to speak frankly and openly with them about that and shared with them that despite what just happened, here's the reality. Here's really who you are, and here's really how we can overcome this and get through it and go beyond it and thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. And that's beautiful. And the way you're sewing into them now will help them to sew into other people in the future.
I love that. Sew into them. Yes. Yeah. I just got the visual of the Velveteen Rabbit, right? And the eyes, right? The buttons were gone, but the eyes were sewn. Yeah, girl. We're dropping them today, man.
We are dropping them. I mean, we have so much to talk about.
Yes.
So, we're already at the 35-minute mark. And so let's talk about your activism. And with you're all about diving in and digging through white fragility and being an anti-racist and just using your voice. Why is that important for you?
Oh, well, because my brothers and sisters are being unfairly treated, brutalized, dehumanized, criminalized, and have been for centuries because of their skin. So to me, my skin enters into it as well. From the standpoint of, I understand that I have a lot of advantage and a lot of position and privilege because of the color of my skin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't receive the same inequities and the same treatment and the same actions and the same looks and the same, whispers and the same passive aggressive or overt comments and brutality that my brothers and sisters do. And I noticed that when I was a child, among for skin color, but also for those who were, oh, that's Amanda. I love Amanda. Another friend of mine. Those who are disabled, those who can't speak up for themselves, those who had learning disadvantages or whatever. I mean,
right.
I always saw the inequity of those things and how they were treated purely based upon that. And I think too, it probably stemmed from my own inability to speak up for me. I wasn't allowed to or given that space to speak up for me. So I spoke for other people powerfully, always have, and from a genuine place, right? But I realize now, oftentimes, when we enter into this sort of work, there is a part of us that is looking to be healed as well.
Yeah.
I'm not making it about me, but when we're conditioned not to be able to speak up for ourselves and we speak up for other people, there's reasons there, and it's my work to do for me on my end.
Right.
But I do speak up for myself now. I think I probably have shown you that. You already know that. But yeah, it is a passion of mine, and it always has been. I've always been that person to run toward those conflicts. And when comments are said or things are done and I'm a witness to it, I'm the first one, regardless of whether or not anybody joins me, to say, whoa, time out, what just happened here?
Yeah.
And I'll call it out, and I'll tell you, I'm not a very political person that way, meaning, I don't play the white politics. I don't play the societal politics, in any of this.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think it's wrong. I think it's immoral, but more to the point, with racism, it's not an issue of morality so much as there's inequitable systems in this country that disadvantage, brothers and sisters of any skin color. And that ruler keeps being pushed around the floor. And, just when you step toward that line, then nope, it gets shoved in another direction, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
All to preserve what? To preserve this. As though this is the standard. But in all honesty, the standard is melanin. The standard is your skin color. The standard is we all came from that area. It's just that my ancestors migrated further north. And so now I look like this. If I'm out in the sun, I will tan, but I still don't get as dark as someone else. But we're all of humanity, and I don't like the fact that this has been even allowed to be perpetuated has started with the dehumanization of other human beings,
Yeah.
the ripping away of their dignity
Mm-hmm.
and their divinity. We are all created the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I agree. And it's the dehumanizing part.
100%.
And you know, it's a lot of people want to bring politics into it. And I posted something yesterday in regards to one of the congresswomen, I don't even know her name, AOC.
AOC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo,
Yes.
yeah, and the way she came back and said what she said, it's not a political issue. We really do have a humanity issue.
Yes.
And it's not about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. It's not about politics at all.
Right.
It is about your heart,
Yes.
and your soul and your
Yes.
humanness.
Yeah.
And if we don't tap into our humanness, then
Yes.
this will continue. And we can use all of the excuses in the world. We can bring up all the propaganda in the world. It doesn't matter. All that matters is our humanity and how we get back to loving each other, because we have to be here together.
Right.
And so we need to do this together. But it's so many years of programming that even though you don't think you've been programmed, you have, and we all have. And how do we deprogram ourselves in order to make this world better for the future generations?
Yeah, we, especially from whiteness, you know, and I will say whiteness because your skin color is racialized and our skin color must be racialized. This society, especially in America, props up whiteness as the standard, and as somehow we don't have any race attached to it. And that's BS. It's BS. But the fact that we have been programmed through messaging at all levels that those who don't look like us, and I'm speaking for white people, if they don't have white skin, there is something inherently wrong, therefore threatening about that individual. The messaging, especially today, but always has been around, but it's even more so, it's more flagrant out in the open, is that depending upon your various skin tones, right, you're a criminal, you're a thug, you're an animal. Naming a virus after an entire nation of people. I mean, all of those things send messages, you know, claiming that America is losing out because of immigrants. I have news for all of us. None of us were from here. Yes, I was born here, but my ancestors came here. Do you know who was originally here is the Native Americans? This is their country. This is their land that we stole from them. And we came and we raped their women and daughters. We stole their land. We stole their property. We stole their men. We killed them. We enslaved them. And that wasn't enough for us. We then go off to Africa, to Haiti, to other countries, and we take and steal and kidnap and rape and murder and brutalize men, women, and children and bring them here to do our dirty work. And we teach them that they're objects, and we teach our children that they are objects. But that we are human beings and we're individuals. And that is what lives inside of us as white people. Those realities, those energetic imprints live inside of us as white people. And we absolutely know. Why else are we so defensive when someone has the audacity to confront us with the truth?
Yeah.
Why are we so rigid and fighting against making life equitable. How does that remove anything from me? Our universe is an abundant universe. There is no, we might have, finite sources of fossil fuels and that sort of thing, okay? But anything else in life, just because you're given opportunities, it doesn't mean that those opportunities are taken away from me.
Right.
But when they're not even given to you, they are taken away from you. They're not even afforded to you.
It's not even an option.
Not even an option. And that is not okay.
Yeah.
It's this hubris and this ego and this viewpoint that whiteness is the arbiter of humanity, of human experience at any and all level, that we know better, we have the answers. I can tell you how to be, how to act, how to think, how you should process, how you should operate in your world. Now, Louisa, don't get too loud. And, you can protest, but do it in this way. We can't even have people protesting by taking a knee and not saying a freaking word. Give me a break. How dare we? How dare we? Who do we think we are? Well, I'll tell you who we think we are. We have the messaging of our ancestry telling us that we are superior, that we're above, that we are the race, the master race. Race is a fiction. It is not reality. It was constructed in order to justify the brutalization of other human beings, pure and simple, period, done. I could go on preaching.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you. I can feel your passion. And I can feel how it gets to you, and you want to change. And 100%. So thank you for using your voice and standing in the gap and being an ally, because we need all of us need allies. And I've been watching Hamilton like a lot.
Yeah, right? Yes.
At the very, very end, the last song, or right before the last song, Aaron Burr, after he kills Hamilton, says, "You know what? This world was wide enough for both of us, but I didn't see that." You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so this world is wide enough for all of us.
It is.
For all of us to be great, for all of us to advance, for all of us to prosper. The world is big enough for all of us.
Yes, it
and
is.
It doesn't have to be we're better than them or whatever the case may be, because it's big enough. And we should have the capacity to understand that and to love and to put that out into the world. And I'm hoping that we're going in that direction. I'm always hopeful. So we shall see what happens. Maybe not in our time, but maybe in the younger people's time. But we just have to keep on plugging along and know that the world is big enough for all of us.
Amen. And I know that there are a lot of people out there, that some strides are judged as, well, it's window dressing, or it's performative or whatever. And to that I say, they're all entry points. Those are things that can be done in the immediate. Businesses and organizations and all of that, they can take those quick action. The deep work of it, the systemic nature of it, that's going to take collective effort on all of our parts. And there are those people who are bent toward shifting into activism for policy change, and all of that. And it takes all of us, because I can only do so much, you can only do so much, but together, all of us, My arm operates as my arm, but it's not trying to take over the job of my lungs.
Right.
You know, it's doing what it does to a really good ability, right? So we can't be everything for all of this. This is a big issue, and it's a deep one. What we can do is take those changes and talk to our kids, talk to our friends, talk to our family, model those behaviors. When we hear something or see something, speak out. Don't be the, you know, don't blend into the white wall behind you and stand with the white wall of silence and stamp your approval on it, because that's what that does.
Yeah.
Even if your voice is shaking or cracking, even if you're crying when you're doing it because you're so freaking nervous or you're terrified, do it. That's Raekwon. Oh, my brother. I love him. Girl, you gotta talk to him and connect with him. He has an amazing story.
Awesome. Raekwon, I'll be reaching out.
Yep. And Amanda Ferguson does, or Fernandez does too. Yeah. Sam does too. But yeah, so, you know, we have to take the steps where we're at with what we have, with what we know. And I love how you said earlier too, it's about the hearts, it's about relationships, it's about this right here, it's about trust and rapport, right? You know, it's a lot of people feel intimidated and think that they have to know all of this information. They've got to know statistics. They've got to argue, you know, crime statistics. That doesn't make a hill of beans.
Right.
It's just statistics can be pushed and shoved in one direction or another, right? It's about this. It's about the heart. It's about what lives inside of me that wants to frame myself in a better position than it does you, or where I, you know, want to, you know, questions like violate your personal space and go, "Ooh, can I touch your hair?" I mean, what lives inside of me that wants to do that, right? You know, things like that. What is it about me that feels like if you are given an opportunity, which you should, not just one opportunity, but the same opportunities that I'm given, what lives in me that thinks that then that's a piece of the pie that I don't get?
Yeah.
We have multiple pies, people. We can make more. You know,
we have several pies.
We have several of any flavor. We'll make you another one. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah.
Right? So, and I think it goes back to the curiosity, like you said, and the wonder. We don't come out. Kids don't come out judging. That cute little video of the two boys running to greet each other on the street, right?
One of my favorites.
Oh my God, me too. And there's so many. I mean, I had friends when I was a kid on the playground that we just loved each other, and we just, you know, always, it's kids. That's how we all came into this world. Where along the way did we begin to believe the lie? And it was the lie of other people. It's the story that other people told us. Somewhere somebody told me a story about you, you know, about your skin. And somewhere somebody told you a story about me and my skin.
Yeah.
Who are we going to believe? Let's be curious. Let's open up these doors and let's get into each other's world, and let's make up our own minds, and let's have a relationship. You know, let's celebrate each other for who you are.
I love that. I could talk to you all day.
I could talk to you all day.
This has been beautiful. Thank you for taking the time and sharing your heart and sharing your story and sharing your passion with us all. Because like I said, you could feel it. You can definitely feel it through the screen.
I hope you feel the love.
Yes, for sure.
I do. I love you. There's some weird comments on here. Sorry, I don't know who.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm watching. Yeah. You're saying it. You're saying
Yeah.
it.
So
No, thank
listen.
you for having me. And I have a podcast too. I would love to have you on, my friend,
Oh,
anytime.
sure. Yeah. Let's schedule that. We can do that, offline. But yeah, I would love to for sure.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks again. This has been a beautiful conversation with Ray. Please connect with her. Check out her podcast, Live Out Loud. And as she said, if we're not being curious, we're not allowing ourselves to grow. So let's keep that curiosity and wonder about us and share it with the world, because we need each other and we belong to each other. So thanks again, Ray. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for being in my life, friend.
You're welcome. And thank you for being hearts.
Let's do the hearts for Tara.
Yes,
Yay.
hearts.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This has been another episode of Make Kind Loud, conversations that turn up the volume. We will see you guys next week. Bye.